This is your Weather Extreme video for Saturday, July the 2nd. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters, and it looks like it's going to be another hot one across central and north Alabama. There's a look at the satellite image this morning. We do have a few clouds across the Tennessee River Valley. Those clouds actually just along and slightly north of a weak stationary front that still is draped across the Tennessee River Valley. Otherwise, we have mostly high pressure over the eastern half of the country and the storm system in the central plains that is producing some issues for that area. In the upper atmosphere, we have sort of a flat-ish pattern with still a bit of a broad trough over the eastern half of the country, but a little bit more troughiness over the western part of the country as we see, again, a pretty flat pattern for this time of year. Temperatures across central Alabama generally in the lower 70s across the area. That means a few spots getting into the upper 60s. The watch warning map features a number of flash flood watches, the dark green area in the central plains, including parts of Illinois, Iowa, the Missouri, and parts of Kansas and a little bit of Nebraska. And that is that storm system that we just mentioned. Much of the rain over the next 5 days is expected to be along and north of the Ohio River Valley, and that's where primarily the traveling weather systems are going to be, and that's going to give them a good deal of rain over the next 5 days on the order of 3 to 5 inches, a good possibility. Storm Prediction Center has 3 marginal risk areas over primarily North Carolina, Kansas, and then parts of western North Dakota and Montana. On day 2, there's a slight risk centered primarily on the mid-Mississippi River Valley, covering parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Kentucky. And then on day 3, that shifts a little bit further to the east and is over parts of West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. But as you can see, we're just in an area of thunderstorms. And in the tropics, the Atlantic Basin is still quiet. However, we're beginning to see a little bit more activity in the eastern Pacific, as we have 2 areas that are being watched. One of them a little closer to land, but neither one of these expected to affect land. All right, the 06Z GFS model run, and there's high pressure today, and I think that's going to be keeping us pretty much dry. Can't rule out the possibility of at least 1 or 2 isolated storms, but I think for the most part, north and central Alabama remain dry with a better threat for any showers to the south. That continues into Sunday, although I'm going to mention a little bit more and better chance for for seeing an isolated storm or 2 across the area. Once again, the probabilities are not 0. By Monday, we do see in the upper air pattern that we do have, while we have a fairly flat pattern across the southern tier of the United States, we do have a little bit of a short wave coming across parts of Missouri and Arkansas. So that actually sets the stage. I think Monday we see the probabilities of rain go up a little bit, but still only scattered and fairly widely spaced. However, by the time that little trough comes by us around Tuesday, I think Tuesday is going to be one of our better shots at having some rain, and perhaps even maybe getting into the likely category. The trough sticks around a little bit on Wednesday, although we tend to go into a little more of a ridging pattern, so it may be that the showers will stick around at least for part of Wednesday. Now, from Wednesday on out, it looks like the GFS and the European are at odds. The GFS is a little more bullish on the rain for the latter part of the week. And one of the reasons for that is the upper air pattern. It keeps a bit of a trough. It kind of hangs back a trough, despite the fact that we see this 594 heat bubble building over the Bahamas and Florida. So it looks a little anomalous, and that keeps a lot of rain over our area and much of the southeastern U.S. And while I think we'll still be seeing isolated to scattered showers, that seems like it's a little overdone. And there's the European. The European is much less bullish, yet it has a very similar pattern in the surface pattern. That trend continues in the upper air pattern, the GFS keeping it there around Friday. And once again, still keeping a good amount of showers apparently across the area. The European, though, still showerless, if you will. So I think the European may have a little better handle. I don't think we'll be completely showerless, but I do believe that we'll be warmer than the GFS is suggesting. By Saturday, still got that little bit of a trough in the area. So even on Saturday, it's keeping showers over the area. And once again, European less bullish, and I think probably the European has a little better handle on this. Looking out into voodoo country, the GFS is a little bit anomalous. First of all, around the 11th of July, we see a pretty strong ridge bulging up into the Great Lakes area from the southern part of the United States, the southeastern U.S. That changes to a broad trough around the 14th, so a fairly rapid change. And then, whoa, we rapidly change back to another big ridge over the eastern half of the country. What makes this pattern a bit anomalous is that we typically don't see large swings in the pattern during the summertime. It's not that it is impossible, it's just we typically don't see them. So it makes it look a little bit anomalous and strange, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of that changes, those changes are out of the picture tomorrow. After all, it is voodoo country. That'll do it for the Weather Xtreme video for this morning. You can catch the latest forecast on ABC 3340 News at 6 and 10 tonight. I'll be filling in for Megan. In the meantime, enjoy your day. Don't forget to watch that heat and just plain use some common sense and don't overdo it. And have a great day. Godspeed.